The first thing I have to say is that when I've been listening to people here, they're speaking for me also. I mean, that should be obvious, but I suppose that's the beauty of a weekend like this. So. There's something I'd like to explore with you, and if you can help me, that'll be wonderful. And it is relevant to what other people have been talking about also. I want to recapitulate a little bit, and I'll be very brief, about the searching that I've been doing for what is true, or what is real, or what is divine. I had some inkling from when I was quite young that there was such a thing as the divine. But I didn't think it was a personal God, you know, but there was something. I didn't know what. Now, a number of years ago, I heard that there was a guy down in Melbourne who was a spiritual teacher. And so I went down to visit him. And one of the things that he said was, Warrick, you've got to know who you are. Okay, so I came back here to Sydney, and I got out a notebook and I wrote down in whatever way I could, whatever I thought I was. Just the usual things, a physical body and a mind and certain strengths and certain weaknesses. But it was pretty extensive. I mean, I think it filled a couple of notebooks, actually. At any rate, I went back down to see him sometime later, and I said, well, you know, I've done what you suggested, and I got the material out. And he said, oh, my God. And that was that.
What did he do with the notebooks?
No, I took them home, but Gangaji, although he was putting himself forward as a teacher, and although he may know something, he's taken that one little thing that he knows and he's run with it, you know? I don't think he's really a teacher at all. But you try it, you know. Somebody says they're a teacher, okay. I know that I'm not. I know that I don't know. Somebody says they do know. Let's try it and let's see what happens. Anyway, there was another guy. I was talking to him, and he said to me, who do you think you are? Not in a nasty sense, you know. Who do you think you are? It wasn't like Clint Eastwood, you know. So I said, oh, well, yeah, right. Well, I've actually made an inquiry into that. So I said, well... So I said, well, I'm, you know, this physical being, and I'm this mental being, and this emotional being, and he said, oh, hang on. Have you included in that list that which sees all those things? And of course I hadn't. But then lots of things fell into place. And I could see that what I'd focused on were things that change and move. They're all events in time. But that which sees them all doesn't move and doesn't change. And in fact doesn't exist in time at all. It's eternal. And then I saw that eternity is not time going on and on and on. Eternity doesn't go anywhere. And a lot more things fell into place. And I devised these two terms, I as consciousness and I as a person. And then someone said to me, now Warrick, this I as a person, is that you, or is that something which you observe, something which... Yeah, right. It was terrific. So you might say, okay, well, why aren't I at home in bliss? But I'm not. I'm here wanting to explore this with you because is it something which is my firm foundation, or is it something which arrived out of the blue and kind of took me over or took me out of myself, but is not my kind of ever-present reality? Well, it's not my ever-present reality, no.
Is it not ever-present?
Theoretically, I have to say yes, of course.
No, not theoretically, experientially.
No.
Then what are you calling reality? Because I say, experientially, it is always present, but not as you are naming it your reality. So even if you're calling it consciousness, and that consciousness is a thing, that's not consciousness or awareness, and that awareness is a state. That's not the awareness that is being spoken of and that you realized. Do you have to think I am to know I am?
It's a difficult question. You know, when I was 14, my parents belonged to a very strict, narrow religion, and it was necessary that you believed in it or you were going to suffer awfully. And I went out into the world and I met all these people who seemed to be just as nice people as my parents, and more so. And they didn't believe what my parents did. And I remember going through this turmoil thinking, what can I know for sure? And the answer that came to me was, I know that I am.
That's right.
I was 14 at the time.
This is, yeah.
I can be absolutely, I mean, you can't deny that you are.
Even if you're denying it, it's coming from being it.
And
yes.
even if all of this is an enormous hallucination.
Yes, that's right.
Still, somebody has to be having this hallucination.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And if this body is an hallucination,
that's right.
Something is having
that's
this
right.
an hallucination.
Without thinking, I am. You always know I am.
Yes.
That's
yes.
right.
Yes. Yes.
Without saying I am this body or I am consciousness. Without saying either one of those, without having to choose.
Yes. Yes.
I am.
Yes.
Forget consciousness, forget the body. I am still is here.
So you said a wonderful thing the other night. You said you can't try to be still. Oh, that was great. Then it's obvious you can't, because trying is not being still, you know. It's self-defeating. It's like saying, I am not.
That's right,
yes,
exactly.
Yes, it's a contradiction in terms or something, yes.
But you can recognize what is always still, and you already have recognized that.
Yes.
And that changes everything. Unless you start making that another thing.
Do you think I might have done that?
A touch.
But that's understandable, isn't it?
Yes, it's natural.
Yes.
That's a function of the mind.
Yes, yes.
It gets astounding information.
Yes.
And then makes it its own. So that's nothing wrong with that, but you still have the capacity to see through that and see what's untouched by that. Just like you saw what was untouched by your notebooks full of self-definition.
Yes.
Always, self-evidently, I am. Asleep with no body sensation.
Yes, I
see it.
Obviously, I am.
I see,
I am. And the person goes through all kinds of changes and whatever.
Yeah.
I suppose that's okay too. I was adopting an anti-person attitude.
Right.
Yes.
That's often a spiritual adoption.
Yes.
As if it's the person that is in error.
Yes.
But does I amness or beingness, which is really I am, is conscious beingness, exclude anything from its awareness, person, non-person?
Well, I've been wrestling with that because I had another experience when I was about 27 or so, in which there was no me as a person, and there was no world, and there was no objects of knowledge, but there was I. There was I, and it was incredibly blissful, incredibly blissful. And I remember thinking at the time, well, not at the time, but afterwards, shall we say?
That's right.
At the time, there was no thought at all.
Yeah.
No thought at all. That was a state that I went into, and that'd be great if you could go into that state, you know, from every so often. And I think this was trying to include the larger within the smaller, right?
Right,
Yeah.
that's right. Well, actually, that was not a state.
No.
For a moment, your mind was in alignment. Your mind was in a state. But that's here right now, isn't it? Isn't that holding this conversation and whatever sensations are here? And isn't the stillness and the silence what thought itself is made of?
Thought is made of stillness and silence?
When you examine thought, what's its substance?
I don't know. I've often wondered about that.
So that thought, I've often wondered about that. Just examine that. What's it made of? What's its substance?
Well, it's a form within consciousness.
What's the form made of?
Well, it's a form of consciousness.
Exactly.
It's consciousness taking a certain form.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So, yes, wanting to. So when the guy said to me, "Well, now, are you all those things, or are you that which sees those things?" Okay, then there was this awareness of that which sees those things, right? But that doesn't mean that that's the enemy of that which is seen, does it?
Not
No.
the enemy.
I've made it the enemy.
Right. That's the normal spiritual step, and that's what we have to go back to. And actually, what I was saying this morning, what is the demarcation line between that which sees and that which is seen?
Yes, I was very annoyed with you this morning. I thought you had it all wrong there, actually. I hope you don't mind my saying.
Don't mind at all. It's been said before.
Yes, yes.
So then that's the point of investigation. Is there really a demarcation line between subject and object? Just like between thought and consciousness. Or formless thought, formless consciousness and consciousness as form.
So the question that you asked me, would you ask it again,
Yes.
please?
What is the separation between you as person and you as consciousness? Is there a real separation?
Well, no, there is no separation. From the viewpoint of I as a person, not knowing that I am essentially consciousness,
But that's not the viewpoint, because you already know you're essentially consciousness. So I'm saying, knowing you're essentially consciousness.
Yes.
What is the separation between you as consciousness and you as person?
Well, from that viewpoint, there is no separation.
Exactly.
No.
That's it.
From that viewpoint.
Yes, because that's the viewpoint. So the point is that when we are simply identified as person,
yes,
there's suffering,
yes,
as you know.
Yes.
And you had a moment of grace, profound grace, 2 moments, 14 and 27,
yes,
where that exploded and you recognized yourself as consciousness.
Yes.
This is what we all bow to. It's not the end, though.
No.
And that's what you're talking about
Yes.
now, because
Yes.
normally what happens then, there's an exclusion of the person.
Yes.
As if it were some hindrance
Yes.
to consciousness.
Yes.
And that's what my purpose in your life is at this particular point.
Yes, and you did it very well. Thank you very much. Yes. 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 I mean, you did. You could see, couldn't you? That you could. I mean, the wheels in my mind are pretty big. You could see them churning over. Yes. Exactly. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
so
you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
So true,
Thank
so
you.
beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I say one more thing?
Please.
Well, you spoke about understanding or realization happening, and then life tests it, as it were. And you said another thing. You said you do know, but then circumstances arise, and you feel dreadful pain, and you can't, as it were, retreat to your remembered knowledge. You have to, as it were, put that aside.
That's
and
right.
Just surrender to what is happening.
So that you can discover freshly, in this way,
Yes.
what is still true. Otherwise we cling to remembered knowledge.
Yes.
And it's beautiful, it's what churches are about, but
Yes.
it's not ultimately satisfying.
Yes.
So when it can be discovered in hell, or
Yes.
in the worst of circumstances, or in death,
Yes.
then you
Yes.
are free of any need for circumstances to be anything.
See, when this thing came, and lots of things were just suddenly falling into place. Well, one of the things was that this which sees everything, that's the easiest way to put it, but is not always seeing everything. It's sometimes it's just aware of itself, and this is
That's right. Yes, all of it. Yes.
yeah. But this doesn't exist in time.
That's right. That's what a confirming.
Yeah, he's never born and never dies, because
That's right.
those things happen in time.
That's right. Eternal.
Yes, and yes. And I thought, oh wow, that's So death is not, such a big deal.
Yeah. Finally.
But it is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yes.
Right. Because you as person is consciousness experiencing itself as person. And it loves itself as person and as consciousness.
Experience itself as person.
That's incarnation, right?
So is that? I forget who the guy's name was. He said, "The world is not real. Brahman alone is real. The world is Brahman."
That's it. That's it.
So the world is Brahman experiencing herself as
world.
the world.
As unreal.
Yes.
Yes.
But the world by itself
That's right.
is unreal.
That's right. Brahman can exist by itself.
Yes. Yes.
The world needs Brahman for existence.
Yes. Yes.
So then actually the world becomes
But the
proof
way
of
you
Brahman.
put it, which was much better than Shankaracharya.
Don't let them know.
Well, anyway,
Lineage holders.
was the person, I as the person, is pure consciousness experiencing itself as a person.
Yes.
Yes. Because I've often thought, why would consciousness want to?
Jolly good game, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes.
A rough one,
Yes.
but a good one.
Yes. It's, yes. We're playing it, aren't we?
Yes. And being played.
Or being played or whatever, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
all of it. You know,
Yes.
we try to find a way that it is, but it's all of it. The player, the being played, the winner, the loser.
Yes. It's very funny, Gangaji, because sometimes seeing will happen. You know, you'll say something, and then I'll ruminate on it, and it'll be lost.
Yeah.
But ruminating is not bad, is it?
We're free to ruminate. It's just that we can never really catch the truth because it's free of capture.
It can't be defined then.
Yeah.
No.
And yet we try to define because we communicate.
Yes.
You're so
maybe
beautiful.
I better quit while I'm still ahead, eh?
You're ahead. So beautiful.
Yeah.
Such a lucky life. To know oneself as consciousness.
Say that again.
Such a lucky life. To know oneself as consciousness.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. I love
you.
speaking with you.
I won't perform a Namasté gesture because I've only got one arm that works, you see.
We could do it together.
Oh, we can do it together. Lovely.